watery. So, get it all in there. Next, you pour in your sugar. And
Julian is cutting thin carrot strips. Joe, would you like to talk about the nutritional value of carrots?
Sure. Vegetables that are either really dark green or orange usually contain a lot of vitamin A, and that really helps, you know, with the fight of cancer. Like you said before, it's very nutritious for you.
Very nutritious. Very, very indeed. Very nutritious. Okay. Put these in a little. You only need 1 cup of carrots for this. That's good. Would you like to throw them out for me? Thank you so much. Okay. Next, broccoli. Now, I'm going to do the florets. Usually when you think of broccoli, you think of you're going to use like it with the stem, but that's only if you're having like family over for dinner. What we want to do is just use the little tops of it. Very messy. These little things go everywhere. You just want to use the top. That's good. Just cut in half. Would you like to talk about the broccoli?
Broccoli contains vitamin A. It's a dark green vegetable. As I mentioned earlier, it helps fight cancer. Yeah.
Very nutritious. We're using a lot of substitutes in this meal today. Very nutritious. You might want to go home and make it for dinner. All right. Cup. And also we'll be making these vegetables al dente, which is chewy but tender, you know, very yummy.
But really good.
Oh yes, extremely good, scrumptious. Okay, just need 2 cups of that. Joe, would you like to do the onion? Joe's gonna show you, okay, let me dump this out.
Okay. I'm gonna show you a way to cut an onion called checkerboard style. I'm gonna do it first.
This is a very much easier way to cut an onion instead of just sitting there and just chopping it. This is so much easier, it takes so much less time.
Yeah, just remember, don't touch your face after you touch an onion.
And also, if you're one to cry when you're cutting an onion, there are several methods you can use that can help you not cry. Like, for one, when you're cutting an onion, put bread in your mouth. That helps you not cry. Or just put on running water. That helps you not cry.
I'm finding this really hard.
Right. Cut it in this way. Onions are very hard to peel.
Almost got it.
Okay. All right. Gotta cut the ends off. You cut it 3/4 of the way in, each direction. Then you turn it over, and you do that. Beautiful job. And then you put it down and you just chop. That's good. And then whatever was left, because you're only supposed to cut 3/4 of the way through, just chop it up. Just do it now. But half of it was already done.
Okay, Jen, this onion is chopped.
Onion is chopped. Okay.
And my
Now,
eyes are tearing.
we need... You should have ate some bread. All right. Now, this is what you'd use to crush garlic. This is a clove of garlic. You must push this aside. Cut off the ends. Peel it. This is very hard because it's so small. Okay. Get that out of the way. Joe, could you just chop the onion a little more there?
Oh, sure can.
Okay.
It's gonna suffer some more.
Now, you put that in there. Move the cutting board over. And what you want to do, I need a little space here, is just crush it. That didn't work. This is much better than just, then you clean it out. Okay. I think we're ready to put everything in the electric frying pan. All right, first we want to put the 2 tablespoons of margarine in. Stir that. Wait, we have to move this over. Joe, could you stir that around, please?
Sure.
And then, in this we want to cook the broccoli, the carrots, the onion, and the garlic.
Very nice, Jen, very nice.
Stir it around.
Sure.
And then the Italian seasoning. This gives it a little taste, a little pizzazz to your... May I see this, please?
Sure can.
I have to scoop it out.
Oh yeah, look at that. Beautiful.
This gives it lots of flavor, lots of taste, and just pure yumminess. And then we need the garlic's in there, and the pepper. 1/4 of a teaspoon. Do this over. Sprinkle it around so every little vegetable can have its little taste. And you want to cook this for 3 minutes. But you don't want to make the onions brown. When you make the onions brown, that means it's a little overdone. You just want the vegetables to be nice and tender, crispy. Al dente is the term we use.
This is looking good, Jen. What do you think?
I can't wait to dive on into it. Ah. Okay. Must cut the tomato. Tomatoes. There's no special way to cut a tomato. It's just
tomato.
It's just tomato. You just cut it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good enough. there's no special way to cut the tomato. Just cut it as much as you, if you don't like big chunks of it, then don't make big chunks, make slices or whatever you want. I don't think they're getting good tomato. You think it's been 3 minutes? I don't think so yet.
A little while longer. I'm having fun.
And also for when we put the vegetables on the linguine itself, we'll be using, instead of cream, which is very fattening, very, very fattening, we'll be using egg beaters. Because more, this is imitation, it's imitation egg, so it's got no cholesterol. Well, cream's got lots of fat and bad stuff, bad stuff. Okay, let's see. Okay. Now I want to add the tomato and cook for 1 more minute. Very short. And like I said, if you don't have an electric frying pan, you can use a wok or just a frying pan on the stove. It's all the same. Okay.
Yeah, Jen, dump that in. Nice.
This looks very tasty. I'm excited.
Okay, that should just about do it.
Well, you gotta wait a minute. The vegetables have to be tender and crisp, you know? They just snap right in your hand.
Yeah, well, like it's... All right.
Let's get the linguine ready. Here, let me switch spots, please. We already pre-cooked the linguine, so it's nice and ready for you. You think that's done? Okay. Now we're gonna take this out of the way. Switch spots, move that over. Move this out of the way. I think you could turn it off. I think we're about done with sauteing the... I just burned myself? Okay, that's all right though. Just stir it around a little more. Get the egg beaters ready. Beautiful. Okay. Now what we want to do is get the linguine ready. We want to pour this on top of it. This may look yucky, but it tastes delicious when you're done. And then we put the vegetables on. Pull it up and I'll scoop it on there. cut.
Yeah.
I'm excited to eat this.
Me too.
Okay, that should be good. Toss it around. Put the vegetables on top. So now it looks like you're eating. I feel like I'm in an Italian restaurant. Don't you?
Yeah.
All right, that looks yummy. Yeah. Give me the things, pour some on here.
What?
The pasta bags. Yeah. Put them on. No. Right, perfect. And this is your dinner. Yummy delicious when you're all done. Have a nice glass of wine. Okay. I'm Jen Friskaski,
And I'm Joe Meyer.
and signing off from Mrs. Toad's Gourmet Cuisine class. Bon appetit.
Ricotta cheese. And we've tried this with low-fat ricotta cheese, and the ricotta cheese, the non-fattening ricotta cheese works better because it's less watery. So, get it all in there. Next, you pour in your sugar. And then need a teaspoon of vanilla. course, you don't want to measure over the bowl because it might spill some, like I did. And you want to pour in your white cream de cocoa liquor. And then we're going to mix this for 10 minutes at medium speed with a mixer. And by the miracle of TV, we're just going to run the recipe right now while I'm mixing, and then we'll come back in a few minutes. All right, we're done now. That's 10 minutes, and the mixture is now fluffy. And we're going to add the chocolate chips. Mini chocolate chips work better because you got more chunks in there, you know? And there's 1/4 of a cup, and I always like to add a little extra because I'm a chocolate fan. So, there you go. And we're just going to stir these in. The next step is to line the pans of a springform pan, which is like 9-inch, 10-inch, I think, and with lady fingers. I've already done that. And then we're going to pour in half of the ricotta mixture. Oh, great. Heavy bowl. I'll add a little more. Then we're going to add another layer of lady fingers. Now you have to make sure when you want to make this cake that the supermarket actually has the lady fingers. They only make them on certain days sometimes. And so you might want to check what days they actually make them. You might not always have them. This is going, after this, I'm going to pour in another layer of ricotta mixture. What I forgot to tell you is you want to lady fingers are in doubles like this, so you want to split them. And I also find that it's easier to do them one by one, tear them apart, and lay them in the dish. Make it look nice. And then you can see it. And you're going to pour the rest of the cotton mixture. Can I have a hand? Okay. It was not ruined, thank God. I'm lucky that I have this extra hand here. Thank you. Since we have already made this cake and I've already tasted it, I'm going to have Miss Finkel here taste it. She's our librarian. And it's one of her hobbies. She actually does gourmet cooking, is that right? So this is going to chill in the refrigerator for 4 hours, or you can even do it overnight. And this is your final product. And just, if you would like to take a taste. There's a fork. Thank you. This has been a presentation of GLTV, and I'm signing off now.
Hi, I'm Amelia.
I'm Dana, and we're from Mrs. Toast's Period 6 Gourmet Cuisine class.
Today we're going to make for you a Mexican 5-layer dip. The first step in this is to make the guacamole, and you use these avocados. Cut them in half first. The avocados need to be soft to use them, and they require 2 to 3 days to ripen. You need to deep hit them. And if they're not soft and you need to use them, the best thing is to put the avocados in a plastic bag for a couple of hours to make them soften.
While Amelia does that, you have to put in 1.5 teaspoons of lemon juice and 1.5 tablespoons. You also have to add salt, which is just half a teaspoon.
After preparing guacamole, you need to eat it right away because it goes bad and turns brown quickly. If for some reason you can't eat it for a couple of hours, if you put the pit of the avocado in with the guacamole, it'll stay ripe longer.
I'm also putting in 1/4 of a teaspoon of pepper.
After all the ingredients are in, you just use a fork and mash it until it's all mashed.
While Amelia's doing that, the second step is to make the sour cream mixture. To do this, you need a half a cup of mayonnaise, you also have to add to this sour cream. The normal can of sour cream is 16 ounces, but for this recipe you only need 8, so I'm just taking half of it. And then the last step is, this is store-bought, it's taco seasoning mix, but if you don't have that, you can substitute it with chili powder and salt. A whole packet of this goes in. You can make a low-fat version of this if you wanted by using low-fat sour cream and mayonnaise. The low-fat sour cream is a pretty good substitute, but mayonnaise doesn't taste as good, so there's definitely a difference in the mayonnaise taste. This is going to be the third layer of the dip, so I'm just doing it there. Another part of the layered dip is the vegetables. For this you need 2 tomatoes. The tomato is the top layer, so it has to be cut up pretty small, and it's going to be put on top. This is a good recipe because it uses all 4 of the food groups. There's the fruits and vegetables. The dairy is the sour cream. You get your protein from the beans, that is the bottom layer. And from the bread group is the nachos that you're dipping into the dip.
This Mexican meal is often served as an appetizer, but can also be served as a main course too because of the 4 food groups it represents.
Try to get the pieces of the tomato as small as you can. The guacamole is taking long because they're not as ripe as they should be, and they're a little harder than usual. So it's harder to mash them. You done with that? Here to the ones.
You also need to use green scallions for it. Best thing to do is cut off the ends. And cut into thin pieces.
While she's cutting the rest of the vegetables, this is the pie plate that you can put it in. This recipe is really for about 2 small pie plates or 1 large one. This is a can of refried beans, and you can use the whole can for this, although it might be a little bit too much for this size pan. Besides the scallions and the tomato, Amelia also has to chop up olives. This you can kind of just get a thin layer at the bottom and spread it as evenly as you can. Now that that's spread on, the second layer is the guacamole. Should we finish? Just make sure it's very smooth and try to get it without too many chunks in it. And then put this on top of the beans.
The guacamole's a little chunky because it was kind of hard to cook it.
We kept it in a bag, but it didn't get as soft as it was supposed to be. But anyway, still.
It'll still taste the same, even though the texture might be a little different.
Okay. The third layer is the sour cream that I made before. That goes on. There's a lot of this, but because this is like the main layer that you really taste overall, because the seasonings are pretty strong, so a lot of it goes on top. That's the last layer of an actual kind of liquidy mixture stuff.
The next layer is we're going to put on the chopped up tomatoes. And then you put on the scallions that we chopped earlier. The olives.
The recipe says it's 10 black olives, but you'll usually need to get a can in order to use it, so you'll have a lot left over. Same with the tomato and scallion. It just depends on how much you want to put on top. And then the last step is just grated cheese.
We got store-bought, but it's better to grate your own fresh cheddar cheese.
And then it's served with nacho chips.
The final product is then served with Tostito chips to dip it in.
And that's our final product. I'd like to thank Mr. David's Period 6 TV class, and that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mark Cadetti.
And I'm Ryan Good.
How you doing today? Me and Ryan are going to demonstrate sweet and sour chicken today for you. So Ryan's going to demonstrate how to cut up the chicken.
Okay, I'm going to start off by cutting it into 2-inch pieces. Just insert the knife like this. Put them to the side. Be careful not to cut your fingers because this is a very sharp blade. Okay, then we're going to make a marination batter for this. As soon as we're done cooking it up.
You also got to be careful of the salmonella in the chicken because it's very dangerous and you get sick or have to go to the hospital. So make sure you always wash the chicken thoroughly and wash your hands before you're done.
Okay, now we're going to put it into a bowl, like so. And since it takes 15 minutes to marinate, we prepared one here. Put that in there. Okay, and the marination consists of honey, lemon juice, and ground ginger. Then we make the batter to soak the chicken in, which is 1 egg. And salt. About half a teaspoon, a little less than that. Just a dab of salt. Garlic powder.
Here's the oil.
And you use about 1/4 of a teaspoon.
I'm going to start on the sauce now because the sauce takes a good while to cook and heat up.
Okay. Then we add some flour. Good. About 1/4, so I'm going to use about half of this. That's good. And cornstarch. And we need about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. This acts as a leavening agent, kind of thickens the sauce, the batter. You level it off like that. Tap it in there.
Just a mix of water. When you're making the sauce too, you add 2 teaspoons of peanut oil. Set your whatever you use in the frying pan at 350. And just let it heat up till it starts, sizzling a little bit. So.
Okay, then you add the milk to it, and you mix it.
Finish with that. With that. Sorry.
Just mixing it around.
Next, for the sauce, and your next step is you have to take sweet Jerkin pickles, just the juice. You don't need the pickles. Just get it at any store. And you want to mix 1/4 of a cup. Add that into the peanut oil here. And it's gonna let that get hot for a little bit. Mix it up.
Okay, we've finished the batter here. So the next step is to add the chicken to the batter.
Thick batter. Okay, as you let this, let the oil and the mixture with the pickle juice, you want to take a bowl. There we go. Take a bowl, and separately you want to mix 1/4 teaspoon of garlic.
Okay, now I'm just gonna mix it around the chicken. Kind of gets your hands dirty. So. Yeah, probably better to use a spoon for this. So now you just mix this around.
Vinegar.
Nice and thick. This adds the flavor to the chicken.
It's a thick batch. Next, for your sauce mixture, you want 1 tablespoon of vinegar.
Make sure you get it all on there.
You also want to have a good measurement too, because you don't want to be cooking and make it taste terrible for your guests.
Turn this up to about 300 degrees.
Mix that up a little bit.
Okay, now I'm gonna move this over.
You're gonna cook that?
Yeah. Now I'm
This
gonna
little mixture.
What's that?
What are you doing? Oh, you're gonna cook that?
Cook this. Okay. Okay. Now,
Right there.
I'm gonna add some peanut oil to the frying pan.
It's a lot of oil.
Need quite a bit of this. Move it around. I'm gonna let that heat up. Mark will tell you about the sauce.
Move that. I'll make it over here. Let that heat up. Okay, after you got the garlic and the vinegar mixed, you also take 1 tablespoon of sugar. Yeah, just get a little, makes it nice and sweet for you. Next, it takes 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. Just use this one, it's kind of better. More. If you like soy sauce, you could add a little more if you want. That's just the Chinese flavor. But calls for general 2 tablespoons. A little more. We like soy sauce.
That's it.
Okay. Get this out of my way. Mix that up a little bit. Then it requires, after you got this all heated up with the pickle juice and the oil, you just make sure you mix up all the sugar and the garlic and add it to the mixture in the pan.
Okay, now I'm gonna add the chicken to the frying pan here. So
sometimes the sugar gets stuck on the bottom of the bowl, so you gotta make sure you get a good mixture.
And just stir it up a bit. Okay, while this browns, we're gonna show you a copy of the recipe. If you wanna treat your guests at home and your family.
Smells good. Put this out of here.
The recipe should be coming up any moment now.
I think. Okay, we're back now that you guys got the recipe all down. Ryan's over there browning up the chicken. It takes a couple minutes. Now I'm going to demonstrate how to finish off the sauce. After you mixed all your mixture together, you take the cornstarch, 2 tablespoons, and you want to mix it separately in some water. So, you know, it's like a...
This makes it a smooth batter so it's not all lumpy when you add it to the rest of your mixture.
So it's a nice paste. You should add like maybe whatever till it's like thick, probably like a tablespoon.
Also be careful when you're cooking the chicken. The peanut oil could splash and burn you, which it did while you were watching the recipe. So just be careful of that.
Okay, as you're done mixing up the cornstarch and make it like a liquid with the water, you also want to take a can of
Soup stock.
this is chicken broth. It really doesn't matter. It's called soup stock. It's not too no one's too familiar with it, but you mix that up with this, about half a can or so. Mix this up a little bit. Okay, you raise the heat back up to 350 like I said before, so it's kind of, you know, frying up. Okay, you slowly pour this into it. This makes the sauce like a thick, you know, thick creamy batter. You take a wooden spoon, just stir it up. This takes about maybe 5 to 10 minutes to get to, you know, a thick stage because the cornstarch has got to get heated up and work into everything else.
Give it a shot of the chicken.
Right. 250. All right, Ryan's gonna show you now what he's working on in the chicken there.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
As you can see, the chicken is now browning. The batter which we mixed the chicken into is now forming to the chicken. That gives it all its flavor. We also prepared rice, which is the Chinese people eat it with. Rice. Because this is Chinese food.
I personally think this is the best sweet and sour chicken. Better than any other restaurant I've had.
Yeah. Probably better than Hunan's.
Yeah. Or Hot Ping or something.
Brown. Takes a while. Because the chicken, you don't want to eat raw chicken. It's got to get all nice and pink inside.
Sauce is getting thick.
Stick it in there. You want to show how the sauce is starting to thicken up?
Yeah. See that? Sauce gets thick. Gotta make sure you stir it up so it doesn't just like, you know, stick to the pan.
This is originally supposed to be done in a bowl.
Yeah, like a soup bowl or something, not a frying pan. But, you know, we have no electric.
Take a little longer to thicken up.
It's doing good, though.
During the course of the time, you just want to take a small knife.
Good, you can show you.
Take a small knife and check how the chicken's doing inside. A little cut, make sure it's not pink. Just to test to see when to take it out.
Sauce is almost done. See, this is...
Now the sauce really...
Yeah, now the sauce just got real thick now. That's the way... It's about the way it's supposed to be. So you could just lower the heat down a little bit. Put it on simmer or warm, or... And it's basically whatever, however you like it. You could have it like a little watery or a little thicker. It's your pleasure. This looks about good. I'll shut that off.
Now back to the chicken. Just about done. So what we're going to do is once it's finished,
You can also do this with, you know, rice or noodles or whatever kind you like. So today we're going to do it with rice because, you know, it's Ryan and I's personal favorite. That's good.
What you want to do is you want to get a board and lay some paper towels down. This will absorb excess grease and fat that the peanut oil contributed to. Chicken's just about ready.
Basically want to keep the sauce, you know, warm because if you let it sit, we've noticed, you know, it gets kind of like a funny layer to it. So keep it on warm if your chicken's not done yet. So you keep it nice and liquidy.
Okay. This is how, this is about as brown as it should get.
Did you cut it in half, make sure it's cooked inside?
I'm going to take one more peek inside, see how it,
You can never be too careful with the chicken.
Okay, so it does look like it's done inside.
Yeah.
There's no pink. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the heat. I'm going to take this big spoon here, and I'm just going to start picking it up. Try to drain off the excess. Place it right on this paper towels here.
Looks good.
Okay. Put this. Okay, we're just gonna move this over here.
Should unplug it.
This has to be just drained a little bit, you know, pat it down. Try to get all that excess grease off. We have our.
Just get rid of this stuff.
Gotta put it over here. Okay, so our chicken is done as well as our sauce.
Yeah, that's what the sauce looks
This
nice.
is our final touch on the sauce. We get a shot here. Get a little shot of the sauce here.
Looks nice. Okay, just want to, you know, unplug it.
Here's a gander at the sauce. Okay. Now we prepared rice here. We'll get over to this. Gonna bring it over here. We get a shot of the rice. Okay, here's the rice.
You just bring it. Okay.
And now we're just gonna take the chicken. And we're gonna
You could arrange it any way you'd like.
arrange it. We're gonna put it in the middle here, around the rice.
That looks good.
Get it on there. Okay. You want to use that?
Yeah, I can use this.
Then once you've placed the chicken on there, We now place the sauce.
Just, you know, you can just finally do a little spread. Get the rice because it mixes really good with the rice.
Let's go chicken. Okay, let's move the chicken. Okay. And there you have it.
Sweet and sour chicken.
Sweet and sour chicken.
Let's dig in.
Hi, I'm Katie Kohler, and this is Nick's Kuzo. We are from Mrs. Toad's 6th period cooking class. Today we are going to be making a macaroni sauté. This is an ideal dish because it's quick and easy. It is a one-pot meal. First off, we are going to be putting the salad oil in the skillet with the ground beef, the green peppers, the onions, and the garlic. Nick, will you please cut the pepper?
Of course, Katie.
Now, you can cut the pepper any way you want. I prefer chopping it. But Nick, you don't know with him. Most people like to leave their peppers in strips. Today, Nick's gonna prefer to cut it in half, cut it in slices, and then chop it up. Now you only need a half a cup of the green peppers, but sometimes people like to add a little bit more. Should be about enough now. Measure it out.
Is that about enough?
That should be good. Add a couple more in there.
I don't think we need the other.
Now I'm going to demonstrate on how to cut an onion. You cut the ends off first, like so. Make a small slit down the middle, and then it just peels away easily. Like I said, easily. I usually use the checkerboard method. You're going to make tiny slices about halfway through. Careful not to cut your fingers off, that's a big thing. And then you go the next way and you cut them into a checkerboard.
Like so.
Like so. Yeah.
Yes.
That's okay. A little mess up's not bad. And you turn to the side
We're about
and
a
just
couple.
slice down the edge.
And you have nice little squares.
Yes, you do. That should be about enough. You don't really need that much. And this is also a half a cup of onions, but I prefer using less onions. Sometimes people might like bigger chunks of onions, whatever you prefer.
Or smaller.
I might just need a couple more onions. And then we'll be done. When you get down to the bottom pieces like this, I just like to slice them like that.
Cross.
And then slice it down the middle. And there you go. You got more onions magically.
Yeah.
Now that should be in the now. And now I'm going to show you how to use a garlic press. For those of you who don't know what it is, it looks something like this. You cut the ends off of the garlic. That way it'll peel easier.
You peel off the garlic?
And you peel the edges off. That way you don't have any of the outside on. And then Nick is going to crush this up for you. You just place it in. And then it's an easy cleanup method also. Shave them off that way. I like to shave it off at the edges. It's easier that way. You really don't need a lot of garlic for this recipe.
Good amount.
It's easy cleanup by just pushing it out like that. And you stick the knife in. It usually gets most of it out. And those are the scraps that we still have to use. So now that we have all this ready and all chopped up, we can start getting the onions. Let's move this aside. Now we're going to start with the skillet. First off, we have to add the oil. And with the oil, you were supposed to add 3 teaspoons full.
Just salad oil?
Yep, regular salad oil. If there's extra in there, it's alright. There's a little more fat in it, but it'll do.
It's all about taste.
And also with the meat, that also adds a lot of fat into it. And the second thing you have to add, that's good, is the meat. This is a lot of meat mainly for what we're cooking. You only need a half a pound. This is about a pound, so I'm only going to be using half of it. That should be about enough. Now we can add in the onions.
And the peppers?
And the peppers. And also the uncooked macaroni. And this is also ideal because it's uncooked. And all you do is just put them in there. Now we're going to saute this. I'm spinning it. We're going to saute this until the macaronis are slightly yellow. And then you just mix everything up. Break the meat up a little bit. I might add a little bit more meat.
Get a little brown.
Yeah, let the meat turns a little brown, and
we like a little more meat in our macaroni saute, so we'll be adding a little more.
But there's also another option for the macaroni saute.
A vegetarian substitute.
You just either put, well, not vegetarian, but you can either put turkey in it, or you can just forget about the meat and put a little bit more salad oil in there. So there's enough grease.
No?
Now next we are going to be adding the tomato juice,
3 cups
the
of
salt, and the black pepper. And there's also a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, which adds a little zing to the recipe.
little zest. Yeah.
Yeah. And let that get brown a little bit. Oh, vegetables cooked. Now the meat
Smells just wonderful.
The meat you really don't have to make it till it's brown because it simmers for 20 minutes. That should be okay. Now there's also another variety with the tomato juice. If you don't want to have tomato juice in it, you can add a V8 vegetable juice or anything like that. It mainly tastes the same, might add a little more zest.
You got to be careful when you're stirring because the oil can sometimes splash, Katie.
Oh, man. This is great, man. You really really don't want the noodles to stick on the bottom. That's why you always put an extra little bit of oil in the bottom.
Keep doing it.
I like to break the meat up a little bit more.
Helps the process go a little faster.
Yeah. We're short on time today.
Strap for time.
Now I'm getting the salt and pepper. If you want to add the tomato juice now, that'd be great.
All right. You add 3 cups of tomato juice to the saute.
And you add 1 teaspoon of pepper. And with the salt, you only have to add 1 teaspoon too. Now with the pepper, they usually tell you to add only 1/4, but preferably
A little bit more,
I
like salt.
A little bit more pepper and salt. Now with the Worcestershire sauce, remember this only adds just a little more zing, so we're going to add 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. Make sure not to get too much more because you don't want it too sweet.
Just want to get a little bit more in there, Katie. I don't think the recipe calls for enough.
I don't like that much, but Nick does, so.
I like it zesty.
Then you just stir it up a little bit. And it does look a little watery right now.
It's a little soupy.
But after simmering
Thanks
for
for the
20
pepper.
minutes, it gets like a thicker batter, I guess, or thicker macaroni. I really don't like when it's reheated. I think it gets too mushy.
So it's always good when it
Yeah.
first comes
So
out.
when it first comes out, it should be okay. Now I have to wait till this boils.
Serves about 4 to 6 people.
Yes, it does. I'm gonna wait till it boils a little bit, and then we're gonna put up the recipe. And this, you're supposed to let it simmer for 20 minutes.
But through the magic of TV,
I'll be back in a couple minutes. Okay, now we're going to show you what it looks like when we're done.
Get one side, get one side.
And it looks something like this.
Doesn't that look yummy?
We've already made this once before. Now, Nick, would you like to taste something? See how it is? Go ahead.
Katie, yes, I would.
Sure, it's going to be scrumptious. Mmm.
That is the most succulent chicken I've ever tasted, Katie.
Chicken. Beef. All right.
Oh, beef, my mistake.
We'd like to thank Mr. David's TV class for everything they've done for us. And once again, I'm Katie Kohler, and this is Nick Kuzo, and we're from Mrs. Toast 6th Period Classic.
Hi, I'm Ashley.
And I'm Jacqueline.
And we are students in Miss Toast Gourmet Cuisine class.
And today we are demonstrating how to make paper bag apple pie.
For starters, you need about 6 apples, an apple cutter, and a paring knife. And we will cut the apple with the apple slicer. Then you can cut the apples with the paring knife to get the skin off, like so. Then you can chop the apples into smaller pieces.
While she's doing that, I'll do the filling to the apple. This filling will be placed on top of the apples and put in the crust. You have to have a half a cup of sugar. Okay. 2 tablespoons of flour. Very even. Okay. A half a teaspoon nutmeg. Sometimes it doesn't always come out. And 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Okay, and when you're done with all those ingredients, mix them together. Sometimes it's a little dry, so you might just add a little bit more lemon juice to get it a little bit more liquefied because they're going to be placed over the apples. You guys have to stop.
I'm losing the pie crust. It's done.
I can't believe you did that.
No, this isn't our fault though.
Just keep going. Worry about that later. Keep going.
We need that to
We need
put
the
into right now. Go to Mrs.
Actually, rice is coming in soon. Okay. Okay. Where's my apples? It's not. No, it's not. I still need topping. Okay. And when you're done with the topping, it would be placed on top of the apples. Why does it look so bad? And mixed in. What's this? Okay, make sure that a lot of apples are covered in the topping. Okay. While she's mixing that, make sure that I'll make the topping to the pie. Okay. You need half a cup of butter. Put it out. A half a cup of flour. That was bad. I have the cup brown sugar. Say something. Say something. This brown sugar is hard, so you have to make sure it's packed down because it's not like normal sugar. You have to pack it down a lot.
Yeah, make sure you get the full amount of sugar.
Okay.
Make sure you mix the apples until they're fully covered.
Okay. You put the brown sugar in. And with, instead of a knife, a spoon, what is this called? What? With the pastry blender, you mix the ingredients together until they're crummy. It's like the size of peas, like the shapes of peas. Where's my crust?
Make sure that the butter that you use is very cold so that it's a lot more chunky, otherwise it's soft and it doesn't sit right on, doesn't make crumbs.
Okay. You gotta get all the ingredients off the pastry blender. Okay, tell me what you're gonna do. Ashley's gonna start putting the apples in the pie crust. It's a frozen pie crust. It should be evenly spread out. And then when she's done with that, you take the topping and you place it evenly over the top of the pie. And spread it out. Okay, to cook this in the oven, we're going to use a paper bag, and the reasoning for the paper bag is so that the crumbs on the top don't burn, because usually they burn on an apple pie. So this is a good idea. Okay, make sure all the apples are pretty much covered. Okay, then move this stuff. Place it carefully in the brown bag. Okay. And instead of folding it under, because it's kind of too hard to take out of the oven, easier way would be to staple the bag closed. To staple. Make sure you remove the handles from the bag if there are. Staple the bag closed. Okay. When placing it in the oven, make sure that none of the bag touches anywhere on the oven. Don't want a fire. Okay. Cook it for about 15 minutes at 425. And then when it is done, it comes out like this. Okay, and that's the paper bag and the apple pie. I'm definitely Moni.
And I'm Ashley. And we're signing off from Miss Toast's Gourmet Cuisine class. And special thanks to Mr. David and his TV class.
Thank you.
Bye.